Hello guys, and welcome to The Grind. Today is an extra special episode of Final Fantasy IV, where we waste all the time playing Final Fantasy IV, trying to grind up until we get the most worthless summon in the game. And that is exactly what I plan on doing. So, expect a lot of silence, unless I have something to say, which I probably won't. And yeah, we're going to be doing this for I don't know how many hours until we come across the most worthless summon in the game. So the point of this right here is to hopefully run across a goblin or four, and we will kill the goblins. And there is a 1 in 64 chance. I say that because it's more like 1 in a million. Oh hey, wait, is Stana went down from leveling up? What? What? When do stats go down from leveling up? Okay. But yeah, so base. That's weird. Yeah, 1 in 64 chance that Goblin's gonna drop the spell the Goblin, so we can give that to Rita there. The plus side of this is that we're gaining levels, albeit very slowly. But, you know, it's for us to say that we have all the summons in the game. And yeah, we're gonna do a special video like this for all the rare summons. We're gonna find. I know where areas are that I can grind for the summons. And since we're on hard mode, we might as well, for the experience. There's 3, so that's 3 out of 64. And yeah, we're gonna grind up for the summon and hopefully get it sooner rather than later. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get experience points and summon. And we're also gonna do this for a special monster at the end of the game that also has an equal chance of dropping the most rare item in the game. Well, not an equal chance. It's a little bit more rare. Oh, please be it. Oh, it's Tint. But the pink flan at the end of the game. It's a really rare. What? I haven't encountered a worm on the grass yet. That's rare. So yeah, I've actually been grinding on this for an hour, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna bring y'all with me. Y'all going to suffer through this with me. But yeah, at the end of the game, there's a monster that's really rare to run into called the pink flame. You only encounter it in one area, and it's really rare that you would encounter it. Oh hey, potion. But if you do, it has a 1 in 64 chance of dropping a pink tail. And the pink tail, oh hey, 4 of them. The pink tail is an item you can exchange for the best armor in the game for Cecil. And I mean, by that point in the game, you're so strong you can pretty much tank anything in the game. It doesn't matter what it is. Even the main boss is no challenge at that point. But yeah, we still want to have all the items in the game. That's what our goal is. We're not completing the game per se, but we are. We're getting all the items, you know. So that's our goal for this run of the game. As you can see, we have Cecil, Rita, and Tella, and they were a level 11 when I started this training session, I guess, and now they're like 15 and whatever Tella is. Tella doesn't matter too much. I mean, his stats do matter at one point in the game when we go through a certain area, but shortly after that, his stats don't really matter that much. Rita's that really matters, because her stats transfer over when later on in the game. And so you want to make sure she's leveled up pretty good. Not 100% sure, but I think she can gain all the spells that she can gain later in the game right now. I don't think there's a spell cap for her as she is now. Although I do know that she can't get she can't get any summons now other than the item drop summons. She does have a spell limit on what spells she can learn as far as white magic goes, but black magic, I don't think she has any spell limit right now. So, her HP's getting up there. It was like 100, I think, earlier. Eventually, she'll have more HP than Tella there. Fun fact, Rose has a whole lot of HP. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that Rita and Rose actually have more HP than a character we're going to get later on in the game. It's kind of odd though when you're running into worms on the grass. Hey, 15. Intellect, Spirit. Raise! Yes! Now she's... With that spell, she can become a little OP. Raise is one of those spells that allow... I mean, it, you know, bring people back, you know, beat things down to use that spell. It was originally called Life. Which I prefer. I prefer the original spell names. Fire, Ice, and Lightning. What is Fire 1, Fire 2, Fire 3? Instead of Fire, Fire Gun. Raise was originally Life. You didn't have potions in this game. All your items were on spells. For instance, you had Cure 1, Cure 2, Cure 3, Cure 4, the item, instead of Potion, High Potion, whatever's beyond High Potion. Elixirs and stuff were in this game originally. I understand why they changed darkness in this game, but I like the original form of darkness, where you use it, you lose 10% of health, but you hit all the enemies. I like that version of darkness much more. The darkness that they have in this game is the Final Fantasy VIII version of darkness, which I like a lot, don't get me wrong. Double damage, but you lose 10% HP. It's a way better attack. I mean, not way better, but it's a really good attack. Especially in 8. I think you get it in Final Fantasy 9 as well. Running into whatever these dudes are. Red fishmen. I just swore these dudes are like blue at this point. Maybe they are blue inside. I know they're blue inside the cave, I think. But I didn't think you actually ran into them this early in the game. We could probably train here for hours without having to like use a tent or anything. There's 3 more. By the way, just in case you're wondering, like I said, I've been training for at least an hour plus for this video, and during that time I've killed several goblins. So this right here may actually be like a 50th goblin I've killed between now and then. But yeah, so if you're keeping track of the number of goblins, just know that it's more than you've seen in this video. It's always weird seeing Cecil with MP. Like, I'm used to him having no MP. But you know, when I first played Final Fantasy IV, I was like, man, I wish he had Black Magic. That'd be so cool. Antidote. Like, I wouldn't give him that many Black Magic spells. I'd give him, at the very least, Fire and Fire 2, and like some basic stats anomalies. Like the opposite of like the Paladin spells he would have, you know? Maybe we can give him like Sharpen, which I believe was called Harden, I think, in the original Final Fantasy IV. But yeah, you know, give him like virtually the ninja spells you would get in Final Fantasy IV, you know, as a Black Knight. That's what I wanted. I was so into wanting to do that when I first got this game. I would head to you know, in Barry Castle, there's Black Magic's Guild. I would go there and I was like, man, maybe you teach me some magic or something. So I'd talk to him like insistently or whatever the word is. Basically a whole lot. And just non-stop talk. Maybe if I talk to them enough, they'll teach me, you know, head to the White Mages Guild, maybe they'll teach me White Magic, I don't know. And so I just go there and look. I look throughout the entire game for any possible way of learning like magic. Then Goblin dropped, right? I was like, what? Is that an actual spell? It teaches summon? And so, you know, I pushed on it, and I was like, I'm gonna teach Cecil a summon. And I pushed, and Cecil couldn't learn it. And I was like, darn it. So of course, you know, obviously you gotta get Rita. I think it costs like, I don't want to lie, I think it's like 10 MP or no, it's 7 MP, I believe, to cast Goblin. And it only does like 50 damage. Using your rod as a spell does more damage than calling the Goblin. I don't know why they made it so weak. It's more weak than the Chocobo. And now, to be fair, Chocobo is a really strong summon, especially at the beginning of the game. But it costs so much MP. I think it's like 14 or something like that. So much MP to summon the Chocobo for like 200 damage. And of course, 20 MP per elemental summon Ramu, and for Shiva, I think after that you get, let's see. Not 100% sure, but I think that Ashura was next. Oh, cool. Ashura, then Leviathan, Odin. Let's see, Ashura, Leviathan, Odin. I know Bahamut was another summon, but I don't think. I think Bahamut was like the last summon you got. And of course, you have the 5 other ones. So, you know, there's quite a few summons. Not 5, 4 other ones. Cockatrice, Goblin, Mind Flare, and Bomb. I don't think you actually summoned Odin originally. Oh, no, you did summon Odin. Okay, so you did summon Odin, and he would come in and he would possibly kill every enemy on screen. He wouldn't do any damage, period. Now, in this version, if he doesn't instant kill an enemy, he'll throw a spear and do damage. This version, but in the original version, he would either just kill him or he wouldn't. Ashura would switch between one of 3 things. She would cast either Shell Barrier, Shell Protect or whatever, and the other Two were it would either heal the full party or remove their stats anomaly. So there's a 1/3 chance everyone would be healed. And no, it would cast either life on everyone, or heal everyone, or cure their stats anomalies. So it's one of those three. The one you wanted was the healing one, because they healed quite a bit. It's the only healing spell Rita had at the end of the game. Then you got Leviathan, which is basically a much more powerful version of Shiva. And Bahamut, which would do like I think Bahamut does like 3,000 to all enemies, so it's just totally OP. Cockatrice, Goblin, Mind Flare, and Bomb do no damage. I don't think they do any real damage. I don't even know why they set the summons to be so hard to get as drops. You would think that, you know, they'd set it to where, you know, they weren't too rare, so you encountered them naturally. She'd have more than just Chocobo as a kid, but whatever. I hear in the original version of Final Fantasy IV, if you somehow manage to level up a character named Edward to level 99, he's the most powerful character in the game. But I think that's because, you know, he's the most worthless character in the game, so it was just trying to keep people stuck with him for a long time. Although certain plot elements in this game, I never understood why certain characters didn't join your team later on in the game. In the Game Boy Advance version, any characters that were still alive at the end of the game would be eligible as party members and switch them out at the end of the game. But that's the only version that allowed you to do that. So technically, because you're allowed to do that and you have a certain extra after game thing, I would say that the Game Boy Advance version is probably the best version. But the DS version is considered the best, so. I'm pretty sure this worm has Maelstrom at the beginning of the game. Wait, it's still alive after that? That's crazy. That's a lot of HP. That's a lot of experience. It's like 6 matches right there. Level. Hey, level up. More intelligence equals more damage. I wonder if their stats are preset. So, like, when they level up, it gives particular stats no matter what. I don't think that... Actually, I know that's not true because HP is random. So maybe stats are random too. 4 more! Wish we had like an all attacking attack. That'd be kind of cool. Man, she used to just do 80 damage, now she's like 177. Cecil, hey, I got an achievement. Alright. Yeah, I'm playing the Steam version of this game, so on the Steam version you get achievements for leveling out certain characters. I wonder if at like some point Tello's MP actually goes up to like 91. Like maybe at level like 99 it goes up to 91. That'd be great. I'd like that. Potion! Dude, those are rare. I'll save those high potions. Three more! Strike. Item content. Man, my heart sank. Silver Hunter. I got an achievement for, guess getting gold. Or maybe killing some monsters. So like every time an item drops, but it's not goblin, my heart just sinks. I like the feather, the flower that she has in her hair, that's kind of cool. In fact, I like all the character designs in this game, they're very unique, especially the personalities and whatnot. You don't really see stuff like that in Final Fantasies nowadays, it's just kind of generic characters, I guess. Ever since like maybe Final Fantasy 8, I would say. Nah, Final Fantasy 10 probably. Around Final Fantasy 10. I mean, they were still characters with their own personalities and designs and whatnot, but it was like archetypes more than anything. Because, you know, you'd have the main character, I mean, not even main character. You'd have the young person, you'd have the old person, you'd have the hot person, the skilled person, the sly person, and it's just like, okay, even the hairstyles seem to transfer over between games. For instance, let's say Zell, Titus, what's his name? The main character of Final Fantasy 12, they all have practically the same, similar hairstyles. Not to say each game didn't have their own sort of charm. The newest Final Fantasy at the time of this recording, Final Fantasy 15, has been out for a couple of years. All those characters are unique and cool. I wouldn't say they're cooler than a character from Final Fantasy 9, or 4 for that fact. 4 is my favorite. But they're all unique and cool in their own right. I kind of consider Final Fantasy 15 to be the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure of Final Fantasy. You have these 4 guys who are kind of they're cool and they're having a bizarre adventure, with over-the-top fights and whatnot. Might as well, so like, I was thinking, why don't I just rank the Final Fantasies from I guess least, we'll go favorite to least favorite. That'll be easier. So obviously Final Fantasy 4 is my favorite Final Fantasy. It was the first Final Fantasy for me to be, technically the first Final Fantasy for me to play was 7, but I only played it for like half a second. Because owning games was really hard as a kid. We couldn't really afford to buy very many games. So Final Fantasy wasn't really one of those things Mom was able to buy, and so I had to rent games. Well, I didn't even really get to rent games. A friend of mine would go over to his house, and he would rent games because he was a really cool dude. And shout out to Jerry and Summer Jesse. I hope you're doing good, bro. But so we would go to the movie store and he would rent those games and we'd play them. And so it took about 2+ years of playing Final Fantasy 4 before we got to the end of the game. And that was, that was one of our first RPGs, and we did not know a lot about RPGs. For instance, hey, Tello stand over goes, no, alright, well, his HP went up, so that, that's good. At least it didn't go down. Where was I? Oh yeah. So we didn't know a lot about Final Fantasies, and so after about 2 years of playing the game, we're at the end of the game, we finally discover that you can equip items to characters. I remember that blowing my mind, because I would always wonder, why is it whenever you got a new party member, it was really strong from where you were in the game, but it got really, really weak as you leveled up and you got further into the game. And the magic was the only thing that seemed to consistently be strong and useful. And so when we figured out that, hey, you can equip armor and stuff like that, I was like, what? These matches aren't really meant to take an hour each? That's crazy. Because, I found that enemies, they would hit you I mean, the more HP you had, the better, the more damage you were able to take. So, you take you would take not too much damage, and your HP would go down. You just heal it up, and you continue fighting. But the problem was, if you didn't equip gear, you would deal not too much damage. You would deal like 14, 7, whatever. I believe with the Paladin Cecil, you deal maybe 100 damage. Yang was really good because he consistent. As a monk, you don't really need to equip anything. It just naturally does a ton of damage. But other than him, everybody was consistently not doing much damage, and the only way to do any real damage in fight was to cast spells. And I knew how to use items. I knew how to cast spells. So I would spam the most powerful spell on everything. The level 1 goblin with 7 HP, with 8 HP. Alright, cast fire 3. And so 1/3 of my MP was gone, and I didn't know how to conserve MP. It was crazy. But yeah, Final Fantasy IV taught me how to play RPGs. It's a great game, and I love it. I love the story, I love the characters, everything about it. Eventually, I ended up beating Final Fantasy IV on my birthday one year, and I'll tell you that story when we beat this game. I will tell you that story. It's kind of a sad story, but yeah, I ended up beating Final Fantasy IV on my birthday. But anyway, Final Fantasy IV would be my absolute favorite. After Final Fantasy IV, we have let me think. Final Fantasy VIII would be my second favorite Final Fantasy. And believe it or not, a lot of people hate Final Fantasy VIII, but it's such a good game. I've probably spent more time playing Final Fantasy VIII than any other Final Fantasy at all. Like, I've beaten Final Fantasy IV every which way to Sunday on every console that I own it on, except for maybe one, other than this one. But I played Final Fantasy VIII like so many more hours. Goblin? No question. That's okay. I can tell you the story. Let's see. We got level 17, and she was level 11 when we started. But she's getting up there. Her stamina's like double that of Tella's. But so I played that game for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on it. That, like Final Fantasy IV, had its own learning curve, and it wasn't until the final disc of the game that we actually learned how to play it. But for people who don't know how do I explain? People who aren't very good at RPGs, like me back when I was playing it, learning the junction system was really complicated. I didn't understand it, not at all. Now my uncles, they played Final Fantasy just as much as I did, so eventually when I learned the junction system, they gave me some tips and stuff like that made the game so much easier. But I remember when I would play Final Fantasy VIII, I would junction summons to everyone, and the only thing I would put was, like when I first played it, at the very beginning of the game, didn't know how junctions and summons and stuff worked at all. I would just run into the training center. I was like, maybe when I level up, I'll learn some spells and stuff like that. Maybe I'll actually do some real damage. So I go to the Guardian Training Center and I train in there. Nothing but attack. It's like, when am I going to get the ability to use an item? No. Darn. But when am I going to get the ability to use an item or something? All I can do is just attack. And eventually they're like, you know what? We it's impossible to train here. We're not going to get you. This game is super hard. Let's go walking around and see what we can do. And eventually we made our way to the classroom. The classroom gave us 2 summons. We're like, we have 2 summons. What do we do with them? And we found that you can equip the summons through junction. And we're like, alright, cool. alright, yeah, I'm gonna give you summons. And I was like, wait, I can equip the ability to use an item and summon summons? OP, right there. I win. Game over. So I junction magic, I junction summon an item. I had no idea how to get magic. And so I would basically I went to the training center. I used Shiva, and I didn't find this out till years later. But the more a character uses a summon, the more you gain affinity with that summon, so you can cast it faster. And of course, you know, when you gain, I guess, AP in that game, you learn abilities. But I didn't know anything about that stuff. I just knew that it would summon faster the more you used it. I was like, alright, that's cool. And so, eventually, and also because I didn't know how to pick what your summon learned, I just let it auto learn whatever it wanted, because I thought that's just how it worked. But anyway, so eventually my summons, by the end of, around the end of disc 1, all my summons would hit like 9,999, and they'd summon like half a second, because that's all I did. That was my combat strategy, was start combat, put on the summon that the character has, attack with the summon the character has, and match ends, and go on. Until I got to, and that's just what I did. And then I got to the last disc in the game, and on the last disc of the game, you fought Sorceress Adele. Adia, Adele, and then Ultimacia. So Sorceress Adele, I believe. And that fight's like now, that fight's like a pushover. You can beat it, no problem. But back then, I believe you could, like, the part of the fight is that you have Riona. I pronounce it Riona. She's in the chest of Sorceress Adele. So if you hit her, it's game over right there. And so you can't use your summons, or you lose. I was like, alright, no problem. I got some pretty good weapons, I guess. And so I had to attack with the weapons. But I only dealt like 100 damage, right? I was like, oh, how do I do this? So I had no idea about junction at all. All I knew is that you could equip summons, and then you can learn the ability of magic, summon, and item, and whatnot. And I knew you could draw, but I never used it really, because like I didn't know what the point of draw was. I was like, oh, you can get magic slots, but honestly, summons do more damage. So why would you use spells in this game? And so, like, I had hardly any spells at all. And I didn't even have all the summons you can have at that point in the game. Like, Leviathan, completely skipped over it. Same with Siren. I didn't know you could draw summons. So I like, missed a whole lot of stuff in the game. But, yeah, so I went into the junction thing, and I was like, oh, I see some of these stats are lit. Well, what does that mean? Then can I equip something to it? And then I find out you can. It was auto-equipping spells and whatnot, but I was like, wait, you equip spells to them? Can I make my character more powerful by equipping spells to them? And then it snapped. I was like, wait, I can draw spells and equip them and become super powerful. And so that's what I spent hours and hours just drawing spells and stuff like that. And I still didn't get very powerful because there wasn't any real spells that you could draw at that area, I think. Nothing good, so, like, I ended up restarting the game, but I knew how to jump ship and figured out that you could basically have 3,000 HP at the beginning of the game with all the best spells and stuff like that. Was potion, darn. But yeah, so I figured out how to junction, and the game was so much easier. I mean, everything seemed like it was really hard in that game. Even Adele, well, she was a pushover after I figured that out, really. But I never really got past her in that run of the game because the file ended up being erased. My sister didn't know about saving files or whatever, that, you know, and she had this terrible habit of saving over files in video games. I don't know why. It's just like she'd play a game, she'd save over a file, and you know, wouldn't think twice about it. And so we lost that file because she saved over it. It was terrible. From that point on, we knew we had to make multiple copies of a file. Like if we played an RPG or any sort of game, we just save 3 files, and this way it was impossible to purposely save over all 3 of them. Unless you purposely saved over all 3 of the files, you couldn't save over it. You could still have at least 1 copy of the game, or any game you played for that matter. But yeah, Final Fantasy VIII is a really good game, great characters and stuff like that. I would say that would be my second favorite Final Fantasy. After that, it's really kind of a toss-up between 7 and 9. I guess Final Fantasy 9. Final Fantasy 9 was like probably the best Final Fantasy from PlayStation. It was the last one released on PlayStation, I'm pretty sure. I know that Chocobo Dungeons and Final Fantasy Tactics were really late in the release as well, so I'm not 100% sure if Final Fantasy 9 was released before or after Final Fantasy Tactics. Now that I think about it, I think Final Fantasy 9 was released after. I mean, not Final Fantasy 9, but Final Fantasy Tactics was released after Final Fantasy 9. But yeah, basically, Final Fantasy 9. I liked the art style because it was so unique. It was back to the roots, how Final Fantasy used to look like the Super Nintendo before, you know, all these chibi versions of characters. And sorry, I'm stretching. And I was like, that's how it should be. I liked the realistic form of heights and how characters are supposed, how the characters look at realistic heights. I thought that was cool, but Final Fantasy IV kind of brought me back to the roots. You know, you have the fantasy, you have the black wizards and the white mages and all that stuff. It was for me. It was a pure nostalgia trip, and all the and. Even though it was super full of nostalgia, it had its own unique, like, take on things and characters, races. You know, the fact that you had party members that weren't main party members of the game, but they would constantly join your team throughout the game, and they had unique stuff, was just amazing. And of course, the story was really good. I love the story of 9. In fact, I'm actually going to be playing Final Fantasy 9 on this channel eventually, but right now we're on 4, so we're going to play 4. But yeah, Final Fantasy 9, great game. There's not really anything negative I can say about 9. After, because I was so good at 4, 9 became... 9 was like a cakewalk to me, because basically 9 was Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 4, but more complicated, I guess. This, how you learned spells in the game was you equipped items, and those items happen to have a release of spells in them. I didn't know that when I first played 4. I was just like, I know how to equip gear. I'm always gonna equip the best gear. And I was like, I guess I learned spells when I level up or whatever. But it seems kind of random. I didn't know you had to actually learn the spells. Around later on in Final Fantasy 9, close to the end of the game, I actually figured out that you learn the spells through the items, stuff like that. And then I like, oh, crap, I got rid of all. I have to re-equip all these crappy items. Now, if I ever play Final Fantasy 9, it's not going to happen when we play through on the channel, but whenever I play Final Fantasy 9 on PlayStation, I always put in Action Replay, and I'll unlock all the items in the game. And like, I know it's cheating, but I do it on purpose. So this way, I do it in such a way that it doesn't really seem like cheating to me. What I do is I will put the weakest items and gear on a character to learn an ability. And then I will build up the gear and the items and learn the abilities that way. So, like, a character can't get a better weapon until they learn the abilities on that weapon, and so on and so forth until, like, they get to, like, the best weapon or whatever. So, they won't get to the best weapon until they learn all the abilities. You know, same with items, armor. It's just learn those abilities until, I mean, they won't get the better gear until they learn the abilities preceding it, which I think sounds like a fair way to go through the game. After Final Fantasy 9, let's see. Yeah, Final Fantasy 7. I love 7, but it's kind of a flawed game to me. I love 7 a lot, but let's see. No potion. The thing about 7 that I just kind of don't like, and it's the same complaint that everybody has. It's the walking, pixel blockiness of the character sprites. And, you know, it was back in the polygon days of PlayStation, back when everything was just a polygon. Like Final Fantasy 4 right here has better graphics than what Final Fantasy 7 looked like. That's saying something. But, you know, the story is why you would play it. Goblin? No, Tim. But yeah, the story was why you would play it. You would play, you'd hop in the game and be immersed into the world and what everything looked like. The story, because it was the first true non-fantasy setting in Final Fantasy. It was, you know, and when you first played it, it had that real steampunk feel. It was like, wow, this is the future. I mean, it was modern day at the time, but compared to normal Final Fantasies that took place in sword and sorcery times, it's like, you know, it was the future. But you play with all these characters that are really unique, honestly, even for a Final Fantasy game. Because, you know, you had Cloud, who obviously most main characters in Final Fantasy all had swords, but his was like truly unique. It was a buster sword. It was huge. You could cut through anything. At least that's what you felt like. You felt like you could cut through anything with this sword. And you know, you had Tifa, who was a fighter, and Barret with his machine gun arm, guns in a Final Fantasy. You know, I know 6 had Gatling guns, I guess, and stuff like that. You know, but an actual gun, like a machine gun, it's like, what? This is crazy. You got a machine gun, and you got spells and stuff like that. It's just awesome. The materia system, which, you know, it was around the same time. I love 21. Okay. But yeah, it was around the same time as when I was playing Final Fantasy 4, so I had no idea about the materia and whatnot. All I knew is that, hey, you know, you got spells on your characters, maybe you level up and learn new ones, because that's how it worked in 4. You know, but the materia in the game is what really, the materia system is what really kind of sells the game, because you can equip materia to customize your characters. All the characters are pretty much the exact same character. They just had different stomach rings. That was it. You could have put different gear to make them do more damage. But, remedy? Nice. Let's pick this up. But for all intents and purposes, they're all the same character. You can just customize how the character was with the materia. So, if you wanted the character to be a mage, you could put spells. If you wanted it to be an attacker, you could put, special abilities like steal or this or that. And, their stats was altered by the materia, so that's how you make them unique characters. And, of course, to this day, ever since I learned how to use materia in Final Fantasy, every character always gets the same materia. Every single last time I play that game. I'll have Barret have fire at the beginning of the game. I'll have Cloud have lightning, which was called Bolt back then, I believe. And of course, Tifa, I'll have her have ice. And I don't remember if, I would give them all like a cure materia, but I think the first materia cure I normally give to like Cloud. Just because main character power. Hey, look at that. Nice. And later on down the line, it would be Tifa's materials would be whatever spells I gave her, steal. Because in my mind, it was like I want every character to have attack, some ability, magic, and item. That's their 4 slots. In Final Fantasy VII, you can have more than 4 slots, so you can have like 8 or something like that. You have as many slots, as many options as you have abilities. I think. I'm not. Don't quote me on that. But so if you had like summon, magic, death blow, steal. Enemy skill, and bronze hourglass. Not 100% sure what all things you have, but it would all show up on your screen. But I wanted everybody to have, because more than 4 was just too much for me. It was like, it doesn't look nice, it's not really cool. So I would just Tifa would have steal, attack, steal, magic, and item. Cloud would have attack, magic, enemy skills item. Barret, he was kind of like, he was one of those characters that I would just put whatever I wanted on him. But normally he would have something like Death Blow or whatever. I know for a fact Vincent always had attack, magic, summon Yuffie, Red 13, Barret, I would always have just random stuff on, really. And Cat Safe, he was my dumb character. I never used him. He was kind of like, if you ever look at the top 10 most worthless RPG characters, Edward, Red 13, and Quinn were always on there. I don't know why Quinn was always on those lists. Because Quinn was actually like probably the top 3 best characters in Final Fantasy IX. Blue mages in Final Fantasy are OP and should always be used. If you ever get a chance to get a blue mage, get a blue mage. I don't care which game you're playing, always play blue mage. Because Bad Breath and Blue Wind are the only spells you will ever need in life. Blue Wind normally heals every party member about, I believe normally it's either 50% or a fourth of your HP healed every time you cast Blue Wind. And Bad Breath inflicts every stats anomaly onto an opponent, and 9 out of 10 times an opponent, 99.9% of the time, opponents aren't immune to all stats anomalies. So, Bad Breath, best spell ever. And, if it was turned into a frog, which would happen most of the time, there you go, you win the match. Especially in like Final Fantasy Tactics. If you're playing Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, get a blue mage. Learn Bad Breath. You will always win. It doesn't matter if Bad Breath has like a 10% chance of hitting. It will inflict a stats. It doesn't matter. It will. So when it says 10%, it means 10% per stats. But yeah, you always want to get Bad Breath and blue win. You could have had like more than that. He had like level death and other just it was just one of the most overpowered characters in Final Fantasy history. But like freaking Catsafe is not. Catsafe is just an annoying character. I don't like the look, the fat Moggle with a Catsafe on the back. He's not even a real Moggle; it's a robot, which is just stupid. It was a stupid character. I like Grievous. Grievous is cool. For those who don't know, that's the guy who pilots Catsafe. He's a guy who's actually a robot who controls a robot controlled by a robot controlled by a robot controlled by a man hiding in a cave. He's like Nick Fury. But basically, he controls Catsafe, and you think Catsafe is like a living person, just like you, but actually it's just a robot. But yeah, it has 2 limit breaks. Every character in the game has like a minimum of 4 limit breaks, except for Catsafe, who has 2. He has slots and what was it? Dice, a dice one. The dice one was purely random, and there was no way of like controlling that at all. It was just you roll dice, and depending on what random numbers you had, I believe it's like for each, like you roll 3 dice, so 6, and it would do 100 damage for the number that you rolled. So if you rolled 18, that would be 1,800 damage to, I guess, I don't know if it was one enemy or all enemies, but it's worthless at that point in the game. And that's if you got max damage. But slots was the only useless skill Catsafe had, because that could actually be controlled. If you push square and slots going, it freeze a slot in place on whatever it was. So what you would do is, because what it does is you push the X button, it would stop the first reel, then the second and the third. That's how you use Tifa's limit break as powerful as you could. You would do that same technique. You push square to stop the reel, and then release and then push X to pick the one you wanted. And with Catsafe, if you pick the 3 specific ones, you can kill all the enemies on the screen instantly. There was it was 100% chance no matter what enemy it was. It would always work. Period. Even on the weapons. If you wanted to kill the weapons without using any skill or strategy, just master the slot reel on Catsafe, and you're good. Another cheat is if you're playing on the original PlayStation 1, you can open up the case, because the game's not reading the disc, right? So what kind of freezes the game in a sense, where the game's still running, but it can't continue forward because it can't read the disc to continue forward. So it's on this reel, and you basically push on the reel until you got the option of kill all enemy, that combination. Push until you got that. Then when you got that, before you push further, you close the case, and then it would then activate the spell and kill all the enemies on screen. It's another way to kind of cheat the game. But he had his second limit break, if you knew how to do it, was okay. But for the most part, I just didn't like the character, so I just put all the material I never used on him. And he would just that's all he was used for. So whenever I was forced to have him in combat, we'd have like 18 skills on him. I was like, man, I don't like this guy. You know, and I'm sure there's some Cat Save fans out there, but I mean, I don't know how many there are, but you know, I apologize for hating on your character. After Final Fantasy VII, I would say my next least favorite, one that I like less than Final Fantasy VII would probably be I like 1 a lot. I also like 2 a lot. I guess Final Fantasy 1. Final Fantasy 1 was like one of my later Final Fantasies I've played. I beat Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, and 10 before I even played Final Fantasy 1. And the version of Final Fantasy 1 I played was the original Origins disc for PlayStation. Which, if you're gonna play any version of Final Fantasy 1, play that version. Don't play the NES version if you want. The NES version's not bad. But don't play play any version of Final Fantasy 1 you want. But if you're gonna play the best version, play the PlayStation 1 version on Origins, because it's basically it's a better, smoother, better graphics, cooler version of the original Final Fantasy 1. All the items are smelled better, all the smells are better. You kill an enemy, the characters move on to the next enemy, but the stats were still the same. Your HP was the same. Your MP you didn't have MP, you just had skill slots. You had the same exact items. They just had better names, same stats, same limits. Everything was pretty much the same as the NES version, but better. And you know, I like that game a whole lot. The spells are great. The ability to choose your party at the beginning of the game, that's what you had throughout the entire game, was awesome. Although that kind of gives you a limited choice on what you can have. Because if you want to go to that game, have fun, and it be not hard, you're going to want a particular party line. You're going to want a fighter, you're going to want a black mage, a white mage, and the fourth party member is an option. So, like, you know, most people would choose, like, I don't know what most people would choose, but, like, you can put a ninja, you can put a thief in there, which would basically be the opposite to the fighter, although the thief is completely worthless until the class changes. The point of the thief is to run away, to get the party to run away easily. Like, if you have trouble running away, the thief will run away. But when it's a ninja, you get some spells and it does some decent damage, so it's kind of worth it once you change your classes. The monk is extremely, extremely good if you know not to equip anything to it. If you don't know not to equip anything to it, because, like, it was kind of reverse. It's kind of odd. And when I originally played Final Fantasy, it was 4, and I didn't know how to equip gear. But then I figured out how to equip gear. Goblin? Oh, it's a potion. But I figured out how to equip gear. From that point forward, gear was the way to go. But then I play Final Fantasy 1, right? And you don't know this at the beginning of the game, but the monk is more powerful if you don't put anything to it, right? I mean, I guess his defense will be better in some situations if you put defensive items to it. But honestly, its defense and attack will naturally get better if you don't equip them to it. I didn't know this. So I equipped the nunchucks, and I was like, why doesn't he get better weapons? You know, it was understandable that the mage's best weapon in the game was a dagger. It made sense that a rod, a staff, was the best weapon in the game for a white mage. But why wasn't the monk? This guy is supposed to be like a fighting martial artist. He has good HP but no attack. I was like, he's worthless. But he'll actually be like one of the best attackers in the game. He would be the best attacker. At level 99, he is the best attacker in the game, period. Doesn't matter what gear you have on any other character, he will do more damage consistently to single enemies than any other character in the game. But the problem is you gotta level him up. You got a non-equipping thing. I didn't know that at the time. We had a monk, and it was just kind of worthless. Gallon potion. There's this running joke. If you get you have a party of 4 fighters, it's okay. You have a party of, 4 of like a balanced team, it's great. 4 mages is the most overpowered, black mages, 4 black mages, and they'll just walk across everything in burning fields, But if you have 4 monks, out of 10, it was considered negative 34. It was like every other team rated 1 through 10 was like 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, so on and so forth. But 4 monks, negative 8,000 out of 10. You should never play 4 monks. Although, to be fair, I think that's completely bogus, because if you're playing 4 monks, eventually they'll have more HP than any damage enemies can do to them. They'll have really good defense, they'll do more damage, enough damage to one-hit anything. The only downside is they won't have any healing spells, and healing is kind of very important. Whereas, a team of 4 black mages can AoE everything. AoE spells would be all you need to kill enemies, but monks gotta do it one at a time. But yeah, the party system's really good. The story, what little story that was really cool. And I like the fact that the Dark Elf was in that game, because I played Final Fantasy IV every which way is Sunday by that point. So the Dark Elf, which happens to be in this game, the first time I encountered it was in 4. So when I played Final Fantasy I was like, wait, is this where he originated from? It was kind of cool. It's a connection between games. But after 1 would probably be Final Fantasy II, which actually does have a story. But like all Final Fantasies, I didn't really understand the system until I played it. Right? It's like, okay, so I had to play it for quite a while before I fully understood the system. Because I was like, okay, so you can buy spells, but they're items. So, oh wait, you can learn spells through buying them as items. And eventually, I was like, alright, well that's cool. And I was like, but how do you gain HP and attack? It just seems to happen at random. And eventually I learned how to exploit the game. And that's kind of what I do whenever I play Final Fantasy II, I exploit the game. I have like 9,999 HP with like 13 and all my stats. But at the beginning of the game, because it's like for every party member but the last party member who happens to be in the team, you can use this glitch to basically level up item levels and spell levels, because it takes 100 uses. It takes 100 uses of a spell or a weapon in order to level up that type of weapon or spell. And it's not even experience points, it's literally just straight up 100 uses, that's all you have to do, and it levels it up. Well, I didn't know that. But eventually when I figured that out, I was like, oh, alright, and then there's an exploit where you can basically just use that over and over and over. you basically, how it worked is you choose the thing you want to do. Let's say you were leveling up your sword, so you choose attack on an enemy. You go to the next party member, do the same thing, then you back up all the way to the first party member, and you do that again. But you do that all the way to the last party member, but you wouldn't choose anything for the last party member, because if you chose something for the last party member, the turn would go and you use your attack and all that stuff. Enemies get a chance to attack it. It's just much slower that way. It was much slower if you actually chose, did the action, instead of like, just picking that you want to use the action over and over until you level it up. But yeah, I do this, then I get the canoe, then I go down and get the most powerful spells in the game. That's just what I do. Because getting the most powerful spells in the game is not really that hard at all. And leveling them up either. But yeah, so basically I have the most powerful spells in the game, have max HP, and I had hardly even moved into the story, but at the beginning of the game would be like, why is it that every enemy in the game is just murdering me? Why are my stats going up randomly? How do I continue further into the game? Eventually I figured it out. I was like, keywords? What? I used the keyword system actually in a homebrew Dungeons and Dragons game I made. That was probably one of the greatest homebrew games of all time that I've ever played. Or greatest Dungeons and Dragons games of all time that I've ever played. But I was the DM for that, and it lasted over several years with multiple people. And it was a story that was really complex and great. We'll probably tell you about that over the years on this channel. You'll hear more and more of that happen. But the keywords was kind of part of the system for that. You'd say a keyword, people would react to it or whatever. I thought that was kind of cool. But Final Fantasy II also had a Dragoon. Any Final Fantasy has a Dragoon. Automatically shoots up in my book. The fact that Dragoons are just in Final Fantasy's terms are the most overpowered class ever because of jump. Jump. That's all you need. Any game that has the ability to jump that doesn't make it the most overpowered skill ever is not doing its service at all. Because all it is double damage, but you can't be attacked when you're choosing to do it. So basically you're invincible until you hit the enemy, and if your character is fast enough, you can basically jump right after using jump before an enemy can attack you. So it's you're invincible if you have jump. So that I've always thought Dragons are just the most overpowered thing ever. And Final Fantasy Tactics, they're still super powerful in Final Fantasy Tactics because you use jump. And Final Fantasy Tactics, jump halfway across the field, and you're still invincible while you're in the air. I mean, it was awesome. Great skill, jump. So, you didn't have jump in Final Fantasy 2, though. You had a Dragoon, which was cool, and the guy looked kind of like Cain. He ended up dying, actually. And if you ever got the Game Boy Advance version of Origins, which I would recommend playing Final Fantasy 2 on Game Boy Advance. Final Fantasy 1, probably not. I mean, you can play Final Fantasy 1, it's fine, it's a great game, really, it's super easy. Final Fantasy 1 for PlayStation 1 was hard compared to the one on Game Boy Advance, where you had MP instead of slots and stuff like that. They have more stuff to do for sure, but the Game Boy Advance version of Final Fantasy 2, on the other hand, was exactly the same as the PlayStation version of Final Fantasy 2, and I've never played the NES version of Final Fantasy 2. But, well, actually, I take that back. I did play for 25 seconds. Played an emulator of it. But, the Game Boy Advance version was not only just like the PlayStation version of Final Fantasy 2, but it had an extra after game thing. Once you beat the game, it had this after game quest where you played as all the dead characters in the game, which there were quite a few actually. They were in your party, and they had all the skills they had when they were in your party in the previous game, which was super awesome. And so it was a single dungeon with a single town, I believe, but it was a kind of long dungeon. And by the time you got to it, you start off with like beginning game stats. By the time you got to the end of the dungeon, you had in-game stats. So that was really kind of cool. After Final Fantasy II, let's see. You're actually going to be shocked where the list goes from here. You're like, wait, surely this game would be before any of these. But actually, I'd say Final Fantasy VI would be the next Final Fantasy on the list. It has 13 playable characters, which when I first played the game, I didn't get very far into the game, right, because we were wrenching it. But 13 playable characters, and the stats are awesome. I loved how the game worked. Every character was unique. Level up. Some characters actually did learn spells from leveling up, which that's how I thought games worked. Like, I mean, Final Fantasy worked at the time, but you actually learned your spells from summons. But Silver Apple. Oh man, Silver Apple. All right, so for those of you who do not know, Silver Apples permanently increase your HP, which is awesome. Let's go to I'm not going to use the Silver Apple though. I gotta save it. When I class change with Cecil, spoilers, he class changes. But when I class change with Cecil, his HP will reset as well, so I want to use it again. That's kind of cool. Let's go ahead and save, just because we haven't saved in like, I don't know how many levels. 6 levels. That's a lot of levels. But yeah, Final Fantasy VI, super great characters. I loved all the characters. Terra, it blew my mind at the time. The first female main character of Final Fantasy, and she was awesome. She could transform, which I don't think she got that in the beginning, but she had spells, she had swords, she was really cool. She reminded me of Rita, honestly. And Locke, who actually is my favorite character in Final Fantasy. No, okay, good. Locke, who actually is my favorite character in Final Fantasy VI. He was like the second character you met. But it turns out, like in all actuality, there is no quote main character of Final Fantasy VI. They're all kind of like, if you were to say any characters were the main character, it would be like Locke. I forget the blonde girl's name, who's kind of she had artificial magic put into her or something like that, and Terra. They would kind of be the main characters of that game. But or at least the Terra and the blonde girl would probably be the main characters. But I love the system, the setting. It was kind of like, that was really a steampunk game, but it wasn't like Final Fantasy VII, where 7 took place in the present day. That was still sword and sorcery, and I was awesome to me. I was like, suplexing Doom Train and stuff like that. Which, if you haven't suplexed a Doom Train, you should totally do that. But, it was a great story. I remember when I first saw Kafka. I don't know if it's pronounced Kafka or not. I just call it Kafka. When I first saw that guy, Goblin? 10. Darn. But when I first saw that character, I hated it because, I mean, you instantly knew he was evil. The moment he walked on screen, he was evil. You didn't know what kind of evil he was. You didn't know he was the main evil. You just knew he was evil and annoying, and you hated him. And the game it kind of played with your emotions a little, because the first thing when he shows up to technically the first time you see him, he's telling Terra to kill people. But the first time you see him in game, he shows up to get Terra or whatever, and y'all leave away in the ship or whatever. And then after that, got one? 10. Darn. But y'all leave away, and then later on you see him and he poisons an entire town just because. Any means necessary to get what he wants, and he just thought it was funny. It's kind of like the Joker, honestly. Like, the Joker was a Final Fantasy character that kept him. But anyway, but it kind of plays with your emotions a little, because it will give you the option to attack him. You go into a combat with him, you have 0.5 seconds to attack him before he ran away. And it was like, wait, why would you? I'm gonna kill this guy, so you'd hit him and he'd go, and then run away. But it's like you can't possibly deal enough damage to actually kill him, so it's like, it made you upset, But, Kafka is pretty cool as far as villains go. And, most people don't realize this, but out of all of the Final Fantasy villains, he's one of them that got the furthest. And obviously he had 13 opponents, but he didn't have certain if he had certain Final Fantasy characters to face off against him, he wouldn't have gotten that far. But most of the main characters in Final Fantasy 6 were kind of incompetent, if you ask me. Terra could control her powers. Locke was a treasure hunter. It was more a matter of everybody getting together and actually working together was the issue with Final Fantasy VI, because they literally got tricked into doing the bad guy's bidding. I don't know. In my opinion, Final Fantasy VI is character growth, because they were so incompetent. It's the reason why Kefka got that far. But he does have the distinction of getting the second, either the furthest or second furthest. It depends on what you count Final Fantasy 15, because the main villain of 15 plunges the world into darkness. But he wouldn't have gotten that far if the main character hadn't got sucked into a crystal. But Kefka and him, they're kind of, I don't know who's more powerful. It's hard to tell. Kefka's a deity while the other guy's an immortal. But it's hard to tell. After 6, probably Final Fantasy V, which I think Final Fantasy V has one of the best soundtracks in all of Final Fantasy. Just the opening theme song is amazing. All the music in 5 is just absolutely amazing. The story, man, the story blew my mind. I Two Worlds and all the stuff that happened in 5 was so crazy, because it was a sci-fi kind of thing that my mind to this day still can't fully comprehend what went on in Final Fantasy V, just because of how it was portrayed. You have the crystals breaking, you have creatures from other worlds, when you're taking in the lore of all the other Final Fantasies that took place before Final Fantasy IV and whatnot, if 5 was just just for those who don't know, 5 in the Final Fantasy timeline takes place before Final Fantasy IV. Just so you know. Just saying. If you need me to prove it to you, I'll prove it to you. Basically, Final Fantasy IX references Final Fantasy V merging of the worlds as a past event happened. That's how the world of Gaia, I guess, got created. In the world of Final Fantasy IX, it was Terra and whatever Earth, I guess, merging together to form Gaia. Or Gaia and Terra forming whatever the world is. But, and then Final Fantasy IX happened, then Final Fantasy IV happened, because in the world of Final Fantasy IX, there's still two moons, so obviously it takes place before IV. But, yeah, taking into account all the stuff that happened in the stories and whatnot, it explains some things, but also doesn't explain things. But yeah, all the Final Fantasy V, great music. It has 5 playable characters in that game. You had 4 girls, sorry, 3 girls and 2 guys. The main character, whose name was Bartz. Fun fact, in the original Japanese version, his name is Butts, but because Butts is a silly name, they changed it to Bartz in America. And of course you can name him whatever you want. We named him JGM. That's more, we actually got the trend of naming characters JGM in Final Fantasies and other games because of that. Well, sorry, I take that back. We named him MGJ. Because Michael was the character. Michael had the profile, and he named his character MGJ because he wanted his name to be first, then my name, then his. But from that point forward, JGM is what I name pretty much any character that I name in games. If I name them, is most likely going to be like if I name them on a personal file, it'll be JGM. Link's name is always JGM when I play something. But the combat system for that game was really good. You equipped a class and learn the abilities of that class, and once you mastered the class, you move on to another class, so on and so forth. And I thought that was really awesome because you can learn classes. You can make your character literally. You can imagine your character as the party member you want them to be. So I was like, oh, I can't wait to unlock the Paladin class and make this person white mage. You gotta have a black mage, and of course, the 4th party members always interchangeable to me. So I made the old man. I made him at the end of the game. Not the end of the game, but at the end of when you are allowed to have him. I actually had him as a samurai. Was a samurai, which is actually kind of a really powerful class in that game. But samurais with 2 shurikens. We changed classes to whatever. And Gilgamesh. That was the introduction of Gilgamesh into the Final Fantasy lore. Which his music was just amazing. And I like the fact that they kept his theme song in other Final Fantasies, not necessarily Final Fantasy VIII, even though that was his second appearance, I believe, was Final Fantasy VIII. No, wait, no, I take that back. Gilgamesh is in 7. It's definitely in 7. But in Final Fantasy VIII, anyway, in Final Fantasy VIII, if you got Odin, and you got to a certain point in the game where something happens to Odin drops his sword. Gilgamesh, stepping out of the void, which the void is an actual area beyond space and time. He's been in there since forever, so he's learned and mastered the void. He can step out between space and time any time he wants. He steps out and grabs the Zanzuki, which is Odin's sword. And from that point forward, you kind of have a weaker version of Odin. Odin and 8 would randomly appear. It was, I don't know, like a 1 in 10 chance. When a match started, Odin would appear and then instantly kill everyone on screen. Well, after that point in the game, Gilgamesh would appear and instead of Odin, and he would draw one of his random 8 swords, I think. And one was Excalibur, but it wasn't the real Excalibur, so it was literally named EX or Excalibur. Basically, it was named Wonky to kind of look like Excalibur, but it didn't have a real name, so it was like a fake Excalibur, and it would do 1 damage. And he would draw the real Excalibur and do a lot of damage, and also May do a lot of damage, and Zentium would just kill everything. And then Swinehinder was another sword he would draw. But yeah, depending on what blade he drew, determined how much damage he would do. And more often than not, he would draw the fake Excalibur, which was kind of silly. But yeah, Gilgamesh first appeared in 5. Oh, hey, look at her stats, they're really high. 300 HP. She's getting up there. Third pig! Stats nowadays are worthless. They're only used, like, if I use a stats anomaly in this game, it's just to heal myself of that stats anomaly. Fun fact, if you're turned into a pig, cast pig to heal yourself. It's kind of weird. I don't know if that works in this version. You can't cast it normal. But yeah, if you're turned into something, you can use that spell to turn you out of that. So that's kind of a fun fact. But, hold on, how much do I have? Not much. Alright, but anyway. So, yeah, he appeared in the game. It was a great fight. Really good scene. And then after that, he left. And you never really saw him at the end of the game. No, you did. You saw him at the end of the game. And he would be trapped into the void for who knows how long until he mastered the void and then he appeared. I have a kind of a theory, not necessarily a theory per se, but it's a theory, but it's backed up by circumstantial evidence. So the void is an area beyond space and time, and Gilgamesh gets trapped into it, and he's considered a summon from that point. The land of the summons is a land beyond space and time, or at least time works differently there. So my theory is that the area where the summons are, the land of the summons is the void. That's my theory, and like it's kind of backed up by Final Fantasy IV. Rita goes into the void and comes out an adult because she stays there for a long time. Basically, time stops here while you're in the void, which is kind of cool. But or while you're in the land of the sun. But in the void, it works exactly the same. In Final Fantasy V, time stops while you're in the void, which is really cool. And then, what was the other thing? Yes. There's a lot of Final Fantasies that actually indirectly feature the void. Oh yeah, Final Fantasy VI. At the end of the game, all the summons on Earth leave Earth. They leave Earth, period. They go to a land beyond space and time. So I think that's where they head to the land of the summons and create that. Because they stopped living on Earth. So I think maybe Final Fantasy VI takes place before Final Fantasy 4 or 5. Because, well, maybe after 5 years. But definitely, summons leave Earth in that time, in that period. So That's the thing. When they leave there, when magic kind of leaves there, and so it's really hard to pinpoint. Well, there was no magic on there at the beginning of the game either. The only way to gain magic was to have the summons and learn magic out of it. So it's really hard to pinpoint where in the Final Fantasy timeline Final Fantasy 6 takes place. Let's see. After 5 is 10. I like 10 a whole lot, but you know, the thing is, Final Fantasy 10, a lot of people loved it. Especially back when I was in high school, 10 was everyone's favorite Final Fantasy. And I took polls on this. Goblin? Nope. So I took polls on this, and I found that everybody loved Final Fantasy 10. 10 was great. But I also found that the reason why I really loved 10 was because of the graphics. The game was the newest Final Fantasy to release, and it was released on PlayStation 2. It was the first game where they had voice acting, and the graphics were absolutely incredible. The last game you saw was Final Fantasy 9 that had around the same exact graphics as what you're watching now. But 10 was like Final Fantasy 8, but it's like so much more sharp. You know, you could actually, the characters looked like, you know, because back then the graphics were just mind blowing. It looked like real characters kind of thing. And the detail was just incredible. The story was really good. The turns and stuff. I remember finding out that not very many people actually liked Tidus. In fact, Tidus was one of the lesser liked characters in that game. Everybody's favorite character in the game, and for good reason, was Auron. Because, I mean, if you think about it, Auron is probably the most powerful character in the game. It's Krusty. We'll have something in the game. This game is Krusty. Curse. Okay, here's Curse. Okay, Curse is a stats mountain in this game. I remember that for sure. It's just one of the worst stats numbers you can get in this game is Curse. It's like poison, but worse. But Final Fantasy X, Auron was the most powerful character he had the most HP, he dealt the most damage. He was just one of the best characters in the game, especially if you hold on. Sorry about that. I'm recording this video at about 9 a.m. and 9 a.m. is when I normally wake up. Yeah. And if you knew how to multiclass or whatever, you would most likely give, like, you would probably give that to, like, Yuna or Auron. Because Yuna was the second most liked character because she had Summon. With Summon made her the most overpowered character. She technically is the most powerful character in the game just because she has Summons. But yeah, everybody liked Auron. He was the coolest in the game. Not to me, personally. I like Tidus a lot. I know to make him the most powerful character in the game, but everybody likes Auron in that game. When they play 10, Auron's the guy that you normally think about. Goblin? Bronze Hourglass. But yeah, you know, we would normally think about Auron. And the story was pretty good. I didn't like some of the symbolisms in that game, as well as certain themes in the game. It's not that it was bad or anything like that, it's just, I guess, a little too on the nose. You know, what's the name of the religious organization? Yevon. So Yevon was an analogy for like the Catholic Church, and the Al Bhed was kind of an analogy for I I don't want to I don't want to sound rude. I'm not trying to sound rude. But I believe it's called. I believe the Muslims. They might like their name might be like something else, but I'm pretty sure it's just called Muslims. But it was an analogy for the Muslims, and so it was this popular throughout the land religious organization that was super racist against the other group of people because they chose to think differently, and you know it was a problem in the game that did push the story along, but it also kind of held it back. You know, one of your main party members was a super racist. He was a really cool dude, you know, and so you wanted to like him. He was kind of a racist, and you know, you didn't like the way he talked back because he was, you know, he was portrayed as a complete idiot because of it, and for good reason. You know, he didn't. The story is that Yevon forbids the use of Machina. Yevon is a religious organization that formed when a bad guy, the main bad guy, Sin, appears, and they formed to take on Sin, and they basically, I don't know where it originated, but basically started preaching that Sin appeared because of Machina. And the further you play into the game, the more and more you find out it's not true. Like literally, it's kind of the opposite. It's hard to explain, but and so the Al Bhed, who are Machina people, they're not made of Machina. They just love Machina. They love working with it. They love building upon it. They see no problem with Machina. And for good reason, because there is no problem with Machina. Literally, Machina is super useful. And you know, secretly, the Yevon higher ups actually use Machina. So it's kind of like, you know, a double standard kind of thing. But and so like the people throughout the land, they're super racist against the Goblin, no potion, but they're like super racist against any Al Bhed because they like Machina. And so whenever you see an Al Bhed, like this guy would be like, oh, it's an Al Bhed, they're always up to no good. And then like, you know, when an Al Bhed, because you know people should be taken on an individual basis. You know, some people are good, some people are bad. So whenever an Al Bhed will pop up and try to do something bad, they'll be like, "See, I told you they're bad. They're bad news." You're like, "No, they're not. These people are bad news." And it turns out those guys actually aren't bad news. It's they were just trying to save people, but in a very indirect way. When that revelation happens to you, it's actually a really good scene. You know, even he understands. Like the racist guy understands. Like everybody but the main character doesn't understand. But you know, and so like the you know, one of the main characters is an Al Bhed, right? And she doesn't tell him at all because obviously he wouldn't react well and he would treat her completely differently and stuff like that. And in my mind, I'm just like, you know, the whole storyline of that is very uncomfortable because you know, racism of this sort is a real thing in life. It's not very common as you would think, but it still happens, you know, in many ways. And I'm not going to go into detail on that, but yeah, and so it's kind of an uncomfortable situation for me because in the game, one of your party members is this, and I find it disgusting. I just don't like it. but he's a likable guy, and so it's very conflicting in a sense, especially for a Final Fantasy game. Eventually, he learns the error of his ways, and everybody's friends, and they save the world. But and for that part to apply, it's just not something. It does. I do say though, it does play a role in the plot that's kind of cool. One of the main characters, who is Yuna, she has two different eye colors. One's blue and one's green. And the thing is that all Al Bhed have green eyes. So because she's half Al Bhed, she has one green eye. And I think that's just absolutely great character building, and great character building, and I like that. That is awesome because of the genetics of it and whatnot, and just the fact that she has two eye colors. How many Final Fantasy characters have two eye colors? I mean, Cloud has changed eye colors because of the Mako that he has, but other than that, nobody has two eye colors that I can think of, unless they're like scarred or something like that, but nothing natural. And I thought it was kind of cool. They hint and thing that's part of the character. After Final Fantasy X, let's see, got one. No items. But after Final Fantasy X would be, let's see what we got left. I think we got Final Fantasy 3. I really don't like Final Fantasy 3. It's my least favorite Final Fantasy because, okay, so you start off with Onion Knights. In the remake is the only one I really beat. But in the original game, you start off with Onion Knights, and they're kind of cool. They're kind of squishy. And later on, when you get the ability to change classes, which is not very far into the game, you change classes from Onion Knight to the actual class that you want to be, which is kind of cool. It's the first game where you can change classes, like 3 then 5. Cecil is super powerful, 40 HP. Man, it's gonna be like level 100 by the time I'm done with it. Speed and stamina. It was like 300 just an hour ago, I think. But anyway, so, for the purposes of explaining why I don't like Final Fantasy 3, we'll just talk about the DS remake, because I never really played the original NES. I played it for like 0.5 seconds, an emulated version that my uncle had, and I loved the emulated version. In fact, the emulated version I loved a whole lot. Even though I only played it for like half a second. I really wish I had played that one more, because not only can you choose your characters, you can choose what color those characters are, or I think, I'm pretty sure. All I know is that the purple one was my favorite. But the DS version, you have 4 characters who you get in your party, and sometimes a bonus character. But I do like the character designs. They're kind of unique. One of the characters was annoying, I think. But for the most part, the other 3 were really kind of cool. And it was a coincidence because I had it in the homebrew D&D. I had one of the characters' name was Rain, and his story is that Goblin Tate. One of his stories was that he was a Wingling from Legend of Dragoon, so he had white hair. That's why he had white hair, it's because he was a Wingling. But he was a red mage who happened to be a Wingling. And I liked this character a whole lot. He was really cool. He had certain spells. He had pretty good attack. He was meant to be, if I was playing with someone and they needed a party member for any particular reason, they could call upon him and he would show up for no reason. He'd just be there. He's always there. And he was supposed to be really mysterious. His backstory was revealed over time. but and why he was there, helping them and stuff like that, and how he played a role, all that stuff appeared over time. It was kind of hard because I didn't want him to be more powerful than anyone else, but I also didn't want him to be useless. So I made him I gave him powerful attacks, and healing spells and stuff, but he never really was there to be outshined. It's hard to explain. But when I played Final Fantasy 3 for DS, the main character looked kind of like what I imagined Rain looked like. I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. We're gonna make him a great mage and buy Rain in Final Fantasy 3. But other than that, the battle system was kind of It was basically Final Fantasy 1's battle system, but it's boring, I guess. I don't know. I think I was kind of spoiled by that point. I played every other Final Fantasy in existence up until that point. So it was like I had even beaten 12 by that point, I'm pretty sure. Not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. I kept on thinking to myself, when am I going to get Onion Knight? When am I going to get Onion Knight? Do I have to actually beat this game before I can get Onion Knight? This is going to be terrible. But yeah, I made my way all the way into the game. I didn't like the story. The story was kind of stupid. The magic system was alright, especially the summoning system was kind of stupid. At least compared to other games. Even though it was the first game that actually featured something in it, I didn't really like it. Final Fantasy 4 did much better. Final Fantasy 4 was the true first game to have summoning in it, if you ask me. Even though Final Fantasy 3 did have summoning, it's just not very cool. At least the DS version. I didn't like it. I didn't like the spells. There's just a lot of stuff about it I just did not like. The main character was a Dark Knight at one point, and I got him to level 99 as a Dark Knight, and then eventually, I had a level 99 as Red Mage before I turned him into a Dark Knight. And when I figured out your stats carried over when you maxed out a class, when I figured that out, I was like, oh, cool. But, I don't know. Just, even though it had a lot of options on classes and stuff like that, I don't know, I didn't really like it too much. It was kind of it was a meh kind of game. You never really want to play that game. I do think though that once you left the floating island and got to the main world map, that kind of blew my mind. That was kind of cool. I like that. And the main boss of the game is cool because it wasn't who I thought it was. It's what's her name? Darkness. I know her name. I played her a couple of times in Dissidia, but when they put her in the house, I was really about that. But she was cool, better than the guy I thought was the main boss of that game. Oh, I knew they're gonna put the Warriors of Darkness in that game. I actually knew that. That was kind of cool. I figured it out pretty quickly. Because I was like, if there's Warriors of Light, that would mean that these guys are going. That the Warriors of Darkness are going to show up somewhere in this game. Like because I beat 5 before, I just knew it. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Even though 3 predates those two. For those who don't know, in the world of Final Fantasy 4, there's light crystals and dark crystals, and the same for Final Fantasy 5. So, when I played 3, I was like, I bet you the dark crystals are going to show here. But yeah, 3 was meh. It was meh. Actually, not gonna lie, there's 12, 13, 15. Let me just say right now, even though I didn't put them on this list, 15 I like a lot, but I haven't beaten it yet. But if I would have put it somewhere on the list, it would be pretty close to the bottom, even though it's a good game. 12 is the worst. Like, literally the worst. Like, I would play Final Fantasy 3 before 12, just because 12 is... I should probably be walking around, shouldn't I? 12 is basically an MMO that's not an MMO, and that's its biggest problem. You don't give us a game an MMO system without making it an MMO, because the point of the MMO system is to make it fun. So, like, I mean, you have the is for other players not to be involved. And the way the system was set, basically you're running around, you target an enemy, or an enemy gets targeted, and it goes into combat, or it targets you. And that's how combat works. That's okay by yourself, but when you have 4 computers following you, it gets muddled, and it's just not. It's not very fun. It's very easy. All the spells are worthless. Every spell in that game is worthless. Even though they, except for Cure in life, obviously. But like, yeah, every spell in the game is worthless. You might as well just regular attack it. I believe it's called Quick Moves, or something. Not Quick Moves, but I forget what it's called. But basically, the system that allows you to choose what happens in certain scenarios, that's stupid. It should automatically... It should make things worth it for you to pick between things, so that you wouldn't have to worry about them automatically doing that stuff. You want to do that. The quickenings were kind of cool. I would say the story was absolutely worthless. The politics of that game. And what I mean by politics, I mean is basically how the government works in that game, and how everything in the game revolves around this girl wanting power. And then when she finally has power, she's like, I don't need the power, I have us. You know, it's so stupid. It's just the main character is cool, but he's not the main character, and the game clearly lets you know that. It's like it purposely downplays him and his importance because the other characters. No, oh man, I hated it. And like, I remember when that game came out, they said in newspapers, it's the first Final Fantasy without a love interest. And I was like, what? What? I actually like the love interest part of Final Fantasies, but it's never like it's a great part of every game, but it's not the defining part of it. Cecil has a romance with Rosa in this game. Cloud has a romance with Tifa in 7. 8 is with Riona, and so on and so forth. And the love story is a great, awesome thing that happens in the games. It makes you care about the characters more because it builds a bond between them. In 12, you have Manello, which is my favorite character in that game by far. She's just the best. And I guess they have some sort of relationship, but it's never expanded upon at all, period. I mean, it's assumed that they travel together after the game, but it never, it's just, hey, we're good friends, and that's it. You know, and it's good to be good friends, but build upon their friendship. Build upon something. You know, I don't know. I thought that it was just a weird choice to me, because, okay, cool. You don't have to have the main character fall in love with someone, but you have to build upon the characters. You know, there was no real character growth in that game. It was just the characters existed, they acted to their personalities, and then when it got to the end of the game, they stopped the main bad guy. He was the same main bad guy from the beginning of the game, and nothing really changed about him throughout the game. In fact, you didn't really hardly see him until the end of the game, honestly. And yeah, he got this Super Saiyan form, but he was just a pushover, and I don't know, it was super anticlimactic ending too, because it was like, okay, you go to fight him, you beat him, game over. Instead of, like, let me give you an example. In Final Fantasy VI, Kafka becomes a god, and then you have to ascend this tower, or climb down this tower, or something like that, to get to him. And then when you faced him, you fought his three forms of being a deity. And it was like an epic of a fight. In Final Fantasy IV, well, I'm not going to tell you this. In Final Fantasy VIII, you travel through time to a castle in the future, in the far, far, far future, to face a sorceress, to stop her from traveling to the past and doing evil stuff. Or at least stop her, period, so she doesn't continue harming the past. And when you finally get to her, you have a battle that kind of seems to destroy all of reality, you know? And in Final Fantasy XII, you hop onto an airship, you see the bad guy, he gets strong, and then you fight him. That's it. It's just a normal fight. No different than any other fight. In fact, it doesn't even feel that much different. It doesn't feel like the final boss. It just feels like a boss, you know? And, you know, 12 was a really, really, really disappointing game for me. I mean, I would play 12 again. I don't know. It's not one of the upper Final Fantasies I would play. 13 gets a lot of slack, but it's not that bad, honestly. I love the story of 13. 13-2, 13-3 focus on other characters than the character I like, which is Snow. I like Snow. A lot of people don't like Snow. I don't know why. Snow's cool. He's kind of like Naruto. He's like, he has super confidence in himself, and he knows what he wants to do, and he does it. Like, he literally calls himself the hero, and I love it. It's awesome, you know? But, I like Snow. I like Lightning a lot, too. Lightning's super cool. She's a great character. The rest of the characters are kind of hit and miss. Saz is cool. You know, I love the story. I don't like quote-unquote hallway that happens where, you know, throughout the entire first three-fourths of the game, you're just basically walking down a hallway to the next boss fight or area or whatever. I don't really like that too much. Just because it's boring, there's no variation of path. You're not doing anything. I mean, you did the same thing in 10, to be fair. 10, it was literally just walking down roads until you got to the next area. So, I mean, if you have that complaint about 13, you know, might as well complain about that in 10. But 10 was to a lesser extent because it didn't feel like you were walking down a hallway, whereas 13, it literally felt like you were walking down a hallway. It was really bad. And you didn't know what was going on most of the time. I completely understand. You didn't know what was going on. It took a lot of stuff just to get certain concepts and ideas that were happening in the game, which made no sense to me. So I just chose to enjoy the good parts. The battle system is just the worst. I hated it. It was a hack and slash of RPGs. That's not something you want to play in an RPG. You don't want to play. I mean, like, okay, you have Gauntlet, okay? Gauntlet's a hack and slash where basically you walk forward and you slash through all enemies. That's great. That's awesome. It's a great little, fun little thing to do. But you don't want that in your epic story game. It's like the junk food of games, you know, hack and slashes. But Final Fantasy 13, all you did was push X to win. That's it. It chose the skills for you. The only real variation in combat was changing classes, which was okay, but why would you want to change classes in middle combat when you pick your abilities, you know? Like, that's I don't know. I think that changing classes in middle combat would be cool, but making your abilities worth it would be even cooler, instead of having this whole push X to win mentality. Which I understand we're kind of doing that right now, but the truth is that I'm grinding right here. I'll take it off of auto battle when we actually get to the story. But right now I'm trying to get the goblin. But so I don't really care about that right now. But I wouldn't expect to do this the entire game, which is what 13 did. And so, you know, that was my real complaint with that game, was the combat. I love the music. I love the battle music. Battle music was great, which kind of made it worth it, but still the combat itself was worthless. The combat system was literally just either attack them until they're dead, or break them and then attack them till they're dead. So, I mean, you have two options. Don't die and attack them till they're dead, or don't die and break them, then attack them until they're dead. I mean, that's not a fun combat system. That's literally how you approach every fight in the game. But yeah, I like the story. The story is really good, and a lot of stuff that happened throughout the story was kind of cool. The ending was kind of lackluster, but I could have ended in 13. 13-2 was actually a pretty decent game, to be fair, but the story kind of gets ruined from 13-2. Like, if you want to ruin everything that happened in 13, play 13-2. But the combat system is better in 13-2, I guess. Even though it's not very different. It's not very different, but yeah, it's better. How to explain that? You get monsters. Yeah, that's cool. You have a monster party member, which you can actually have like a monster. I say in quotation monster. It's not really a monster. It's, you can have Snow or like you're somebody in your party, but they're considered a monster. You know, it's hard to explain how that works, but yeah. But 13-2, I don't like the story at all. It's kind of the opposite of 13 in a sense. I like the combat, not the story. Well, I think leveling up in that game was fun. I'll put it that way. 13-3 I have not played yet. Just because I like beating games in order, and playing 13-3 before beating 13-2 just ruin it, I guess. Although I hear 13-3 has bad ending too, so I mean, 15 is an incredible game. Like, it's the first good Final Fantasy since 10, and like, I'm not counting 11 and 14. 11 and 14 are MMOs. They deserve to be rated on their own little scale. By the way, 14 is a great game. I love it. I absolutely love it. You can see more of that on this channel. Rain Tyran, he's actually leveled up since your last saw him, and I totally plan on doing more of that. But yeah. Basically, where was I? 15. Yes, 15. Final Fantasy 15 is a really good game. You have the same 4 party members from the beginning of the game all the way to the end of the game. But those party members change and grow. Like, what? We're capable of doing that? You know? Whereas in 12 and 13, the characters didn't change. They didn't really grow. Snow's still Snow throughout the game. Lightning's still Lightning throughout the game. They had really good personalities. They didn't change. They didn't really grow. They were just who they were from start to finish. Whereas in 15, the characters actually do grow more mature and become better characters and face actual harsh trials, things, and the whole world changes throughout the course of the game. And I absolutely love 15. It's a great game. It really is. It has some problems, I guess we could say that. I love the battle system, although the fact that you're only controlling one character at a time makes the main character, unless you use the ability to control someone else, is kind of weird. But it's kind of cool. It's kind of like what Final Fantasy 12 should have done, honestly. If they wanted to incorporate an MMO game style, but not have it be an MMO, they should have done with 15. Yeah, you have the battle system, which is really kind of weird, very weird for Final Fantasy. In Final Fantasy 15, when your HP drops to 0, then your max HP decreases, and when that gets to 0, you're dead. But any spell or item at all, any healing spell or item at all will just heal you if your HP's dropped to 0, which is kind of like, what? No Phoenix Sound? You do have Phoenix Sounds in the game, but when your HP's drops to true 0, you can use it if you wanted to. But if the main character's HP drops to 0, it's game over. Which kind of makes sense, I guess. But, Goblin? Bronze, yes. I think the battle systems are kind of cool. The characters, they don't grow as far as combat goes. The main character does, in a sense. He gets more abilities unlocked. But, everyone else is just you equip stuff to them, and they'll do whatever. The combat doesn't really grow throughout the game. It stays the same. You don't really get more stuff throughout the game. You get more abilities per se, but they're not really abilities. The only real change in combat that happens in the game is at one point in time you get a ring. And that ring is kind of cool. But other than that, the combat really just kind of stays the same. And arm teach, whatever that is. That kind of affects things. But the story is really kind of cool. There is some stuff that happens throughout the game, and I'm not really going to go into that just because that's my own personal feelings. There's some stuff throughout the games that makes no sense. It's kind of thrown in there, and it's kind of like it's one of those. It's like this. You're walking throughout a town. Let's say you're playing Final Fantasy 4, and you're walking throughout a town, and all of a sudden a character walks up to you and says, so what do you think about making goblins legalized citizens? And it's like, what? Why is this here? Why does this even have a place in the game? Either goblins live among people or they don't. And like, it doesn't play a role in the game either. It doesn't. It'd be like, like they just walk up to you, they say that, and it has no bearing on how anybody else acts or nothing. It's just something that happens. It's like, what? But yeah, a couple of times in Final Fantasy 15 and stuff like that happens, and it just makes no sense at all why they would even throw that in there. It's like, But other than that, the game itself, it's just the fights are just some of the most epic you'll see in Final Fantasy. And the summons, oh man. I dare you to just name a single Final Fantasy that has better summons than Final Fantasy 15. Not like better summons as in more powerful, I mean like better summoning scenes. Literally, when you summon Ramuh, he's so huge, he's about as big as the earth itself, at least that's what it appears like. And he throws down his staff and it hits the ground and then destroys all the enemies on the period. It just works. And then after they're dead, you still see it right there. It's just, oh man, it's one of the coolest scenes ever. It's like that for every time you see a summon in the game. Something like that happens and it's really cool. Yeah, you see quite a few summons in the game. But yeah, the story itself, though, part of the story itself is kind of dull and boring because they're just traveling around what seems randomly, but they're doing it for a specific reason, but it seems random. At the end of the game, you get a clear goal of what you need to do to beat the game, and by that point in time, like so much crap's happened. But I've beaten 15, but I will say that I'm like literally at the end of the game. That's my thing. I have a weird goblin potion. So I have this weird thing about playing a Final Fantasy, getting to the end of the game, and then not beating it. I'll just wait for like half a year and then beat it. or longer sometimes. That's just me. I don't know why I do that. It's just who I am as a person. But yeah, I'll play to the end of an RPG and then not beat it. Maybe because I don't want the story to end in my mind. But yeah, 15 is really good Final Fantasy. Like, I don't know why it's so low in my mind, but I guess that's just how it falls. Nostalgia plays a role. Goblin? But yeah, now we got Tactics. Let me just tell you what I think about Tactics. Tactics is one of the best Final Fantasies, and it's not even like a true Final Fantasy, it's a spin-off game. The story is awesome, it's got a lot of nostalgic factors, it's really dark, like really dark, even for a Final Fantasy. It has a very puzzling ending. When you beat the game, after the game's over, stuff happens. Like, throughout the whole game, you can read stuff about the future and the past and whatnot to give you context, like it's a historical lesson. But Goblin? No potion. But, as far as the battle system goes, it's the best tactics game I've ever played. And that's, I would say like every tactics game I've ever played is probably based off of this. I know it's not true. Ogre Tactics, I believe, or a game came out first, but Final Fantasy Tactics is probably one of the best tactics games ever, period. But class changing system, the buying item system, recruiting people, naming them, just everything about the game. The storyline is intense. Going to the next area in the game, optionally but easily, is still amazing. I mean, there's very little about that game that I don't like. As you get, like, okay, after you get to the second chapter, the main character changes what he looks like to wearing armor. And the armor looks beast. He's like a Dark Knight. But then, like, in one of the last couple of chapters, he changes armor again, and it's like, I don't know, light blue or something. I don't know, it's a lighter less dark form of the armor that he had, but I'm just like, it's kind of ugly looking. I should have stuck with the cool looking. But you get some really cool overpowered characters by that time in the game too, so it doesn't really matter too much. But the game itself is fun. It's super exploitable because how the level up system works is you need 100 experience points to level up, and certain attacks give 10 experience points no matter what. So if you use certain abilities, you'll just over and over and over again. And like what I'll do is I will go to a specific stage, kill all the enemies but one, lower that enemy's bravery to like nothing. And because his bravery is so low and his HP is low, well, I'll make his HP low. His HP is low, he'll literally just run away. He won't attack me ever, period. Unless I go after him, he will never attack me. And so from that point, I just have every character use this one ability that basically gives me one attack. That gives me 10 experience points. So I just do that over and over and over again, and then everybody just levels up. And once they have enough job points to learn every skill they can for that job, I'll end the match and then learn all the skills and change class. Super exclusive. The downside is all the enemies in the game level up to your highest level character. So that changes things a little, but it's not. Cecil 24. He had like 40 MP just a second ago, I think. Let's go ahead and save. Tactics Advance, on the other hand, is how you do a tactics game wrong. You give them all these options and then you take them away. There's a wall system in Final Fantasy Tactics, and at the beginning of the game you start off with one law. Not bad. Don't use this ability. Don't use this. Right? That's not bad. But then you get 2 walls, and then 3, and then 4. I'm pretty sure 5. I don't remember. And that makes it where like you can't do 90% of your moves anytime you want to go into combat. It's like what? It just makes it impossible. And so yeah. And so, like, it makes it not fun because you want to do certain skills, you want to do certain powers, but you're not allowed to unless you have something to get rid of those laws. And that's just not fun. Because it's a good game, it really is, but the wall system ruins it, makes it not fun. Like, even the story is not bad. The story is not bad at all. The entire game is not bad, except for the wall system. Maybe if it was just one wall that you have to follow throughout the entire game, it wouldn't be as bad. But as it stands, you have a lot of walls. And it's just, they're very cumbersome. Hey, I'm the Gold Hunter. Yeah. I guess that means I've killed like 1,000 enemies or something. But, yeah, the story of Tactics Advance is very unique. Okay, so the world of Final Fantasy Tactics is the same world of 12. And the world of Tactics Advance is also the same world as Tactics. Ivalice, right? But in the world of Tactics Advance, there's a book. I think Tactics Advance takes place in the future of Ivalice. And there's a book in that world, and so when you read that book, he gets transported to Ivalice within Ivalice, but with different species and stuff like that, right? Back into the past, kind of the same thing. It's a magical book like that. It changes the world, it changes people into different races and stuff. So 12 is that world. 12 is the world in that book. The world outside the book is the world of Tactics, and the world of Tactics is the same world as every other Final Fantasy. So technically, Final Fantasy 12 is not canon per se. That's hard to explain. But yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2 I've not played, just because one left such a sour note in my mouth, I guess. But I want to play Tactics Advance 2 for DS, but I don't know if it's gonna be good. I guess I'd have to play it to know. Never played Chocobo Dungeons. Never played. There are a lot of games. There are Final Fantasy spin-offs. I'll tell you a game that's a Final Fantasy spin-off, kind of, that I have played and beaten, and that's Chrono Trigger. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I think Chrono Trigger is a Final Fantasy. I need to totally put a video on that in the future, why I think it's a Final Fantasy. But as it stands, it's really hard to convince me that Chrono Trigger is not a Final Fantasy. Basically, Chrono Trigger. Okay, so let me tell you a story of what Chrono Trigger is first, then I'll explain why I think it's a Final Fantasy. So, Chrono Trigger, he plays a character named Chrono. The game's actually designed by the same guy who created Dragon Ball Z. But basically, Chrono Trigger, he plays the guy. All the characters look like Dragon Ball Z characters. Everything in the game looks like Dragon Ball Z drawn. But he plays Chrono, and a character gets sent back in time, and that changes the timeline to where that character doesn't exist because of stuff. Goblin? Tint. But basically, that character doesn't exist because of stuff. And so you have to travel back in time and then fix the timeline. And then the whole game takes place throughout history and time, the future, past, prehistoric age, medieval age, present, and I think one more time period, Mystic Age. That's it. And you're traveling throughout all those periods of time to stop the world from being destroyed by this magical entity from outside the world called Lavos, kind of like Genova. And so, you know, it's one of the best It is the best RPG from Super Nintendo, hands down. There's no RPG better for Super Nintendo than Chrono Trigger. That's saying something, since Final Fantasy IV is my favorite Final Fantasy. But yeah, it's a great game. If you ever get the chance to play Chrono Trigger in any shape or form, there's Chrono Trigger for Super Nintendo, Chrono Trigger for PlayStation, Chrono Trigger for DS, and I'm pretty sure Chrono Trigger is on other consoles. So yeah, if you get a chance to play it, play it. You won't regret it. But here's why I think it's Final Fantasy. Okay. Alright. So the item around that time, Final Fantasy VI was made. Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger were made around the same time, and so the items were very similar. You had tonics in 6, and tonics in Chrono Trigger. And the enemies had similar names. There was the goblins, obviously. Imps and stuff. They had similar names, and even the weapons had similar names to Final Fantasy weapons. Similar character names. There was a lot of similar things between Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger. Now, Chrono Trigger didn't feature a character named Sid, obviously. So that might be a mark against it, but it was a turn-based RPG where the main character had enemies and items that were very similar to Final Fantasy. Even the spells were the same as Final Fantasy spells. You had Cure, you had Lightning, you had Ice, you had Water. A lot of spells that were very similar to Final Fantasy spells. But there are certain in-game things that actually connects it to the world of Final Fantasy. Now, I don't remember them off the top of my head right now, but but I do have some other things. For instance, Final Fantasy Anthology. Final Fantasy Anthology was released on PlayStation. It had 2 games: Final Fantasy IV and Chrono Trigger. So why would Chrono Trigger be released in a Final Fantasy and I believe it's Anthology? Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me just take a look. Chronicles. Final Fantasy Chronicles. Anthologies is 5 and 6. Chronicles is 4 and Chrono Trigger. So, hey, why would it be released in a Final Fantasy double game pack, you know? But yeah. Goblins! But yeah, there are other things, but I'm gonna make a video on this in the future. But yeah. I really think that Chrono Trigger is a true Final Fantasy. It's made by Squaresoft and everything. It's just as much a Final Fantasy to me as Vagrant Story is. You know, so there you go. For those who don't know, Vagrant Story takes place in the world of Evil. It's just like Tactics in 12. So. Alright, so we're getting at 2.5 hours on this grind, so we're going to stop the video right here unless we run into a goblin that gives us the goblin thing, and we're going to pick up to part 2 of this video. It's probably going to last about 2.5 hours. But yeah, we're going to pick up with another video. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video so far. And if you liked how me just randomly talking about Final Fantasy, what I think about it or not, tell me what you thought about these things and your lists and whatnot, and you know, what you liked. Also, if you liked this video, please hit the like button. Also, you know, if you haven't subscribed to the Nerd Steel channel, please subscribe to the Nerd Steel channel. If you're part of the Cool Club, you know, everybody who subscribes is in the Cool Club, you know, and so yeah, for all of y'all out there who are in the Cool Club, thank you. I appreciate every single last one of y'all. Anyway, y'all have a great evening, and peace. We'll see you in the next video.